Okay, gonna do a quick little review of the Touch and the Paperwhite. The sizes are pretty much identical. For example, my Jivo case, that I use with the Touch, the Paperwhite fits in just fine. Now the actual dimensions, Paperwhite slightly smaller, a little bit thinner, a little bit here, and I would say just a little bit here. But overall, it's pretty identical. And I would say on the surface, there's really two main differences. Obviously, this has the light, and that's the main pro on this side. The big takeaway that the Paperwhite doesn't have, that for some people may be a deal breaker, but I think it'd be fairly small. No Mp3 capability. There's no headphone jack, no speakers on the back like the Touch had. But I think for most people it's probably not a big issue. I didn't really use that when I was reading. Occasionally I would use it in a car ride on a road trip just because it had songs on there and it was easy to plug into the stereo. But most of the functionality touch-wise is going to be the same. You can do everything the same as far as picking stuff, the size of your font, where the touch spots are to go backwards, to access the menus. The menu on the Paperwhite's a little different, doesn't have the bottom. Everything's basically has two, I'd say two rows of icons rather than top and bottom. And the screen's sharper, but you don't really look at pictures, and unless you're maybe using really small text, which I'm sure no one really reads at that because it's so small for most people, it's not going to be a big issue. So if you're sort of on the fence of whether to upgrade or not, I mean, the real benefit is if you do a lot of reading in the dark, this light, built-in light, definitely worth its value. And then on the Touch, if you're pretty happy with the Touch but don't read in the dark, I wouldn't say there's a huge incentive to update just yet if you're happy with that. So I know for me, I do do a lot of reading in the dark, so it's quite a nice update. It'd be nice if that MP3 player was still around, but like I said, it's not something I'm going to worry too much about. They both still have the basic options that you would expect from the Kindle, and they actually both have again, it's probably not a big deal for most, but they have the browser, experimental browser, and the landscape mode, which is nice as well, is good. And maybe the other thing to point out is sort of that menu, home menu. I kind of like the Touch. It's all just sort of list view. On Paperwhite, it's all these, it's more like icons. Maybe that can be changed. I haven't really messed around with that, but it just kind of gives you these icons for what to do. So for the user guide, brings it up as such.